I think it works, but we're going to use a basketball technique. This one works really nicely because we've got 2 anchor points on each end, so you don't have the tentacles which are likely to get caught on something or potentially come off. So over an area like the thigh where it's a bit bigger and it's not moving as much, it seems to work really nicely. If you're going to do it across a joint that's moving like your knee or the ankle or elbow, you probably want to use the tentacles because you can wrap nicely around that spot. Alright, so you can play around with which you think works a bit better. So, are you happy, Chelsea, if we pretend you've got a nice hematome through your thigh again? Yeah. We'll measure out. You're going to use the 10 centimetre for my demonstration. For your purposes, you can use the 5 centimetre and do exactly the same thing as well. Okay, obviously this just covers more surface area. You'll need 2 strips though, and you'll still need to round your corners. Like that. Okay, this is where the fun bit starts. So you get to go back to kinder, you get to hold your paper, you make shapes. You still need to allow your anchor point, so your 5 to 10 centimetres. Then there's a cut in the centre, and then cut strips. Okay. So you end up with your piece that looks like that. Alright, so we'll do the same to the other one. You can do more or less if you like. Again, I think it probably doesn't really matter as long as you have some areas covered and some not. That's it. Okay, so then once you've opened out your page, just like the tentacles of the octopus, you still need to tear the backing paper off those strips. It just gives you some areas that are free to work with so you don't end up in a tangled mess. Okay, so peel those back. And the other thing I also do, because we want to get a little bit of stretch, and if I'm stretching, that paper's going to restrict me, I actually tear in the centre too, just to give me that little extra bit of stretch, and you'll see why in a second when I place them down. Just break all those. I'll set both of them up so they're both ready to go. So it's a little bit fiddly, but what you can also do is have a few set up in the clinic or in your physio kit, or if you're not physios, whatever medical kit you've got, so that it's all set to go. Because if you've got the backing paper on there, the tape's still going to have the adhesive. Okay. Oops. Alright, so we've got 2 ready to go. So if you peel the anchor off, we're still going to do our pieces at 90 degrees. So placing that down because it's just an anchor with no stretch. Peeling our second anchor off. And because I've torn the backing paper, I've got the ability to do a little bit of pull across and then place the last part down. Okay? So because I've left the backing paper on there now, we've got this ability to actually move them. So you can peel your backing paper off as we go, and you're creating a nice big basketball shape. Okay? I start on the outside and work my way in. I do a couple on each side just so that I can make sure I allow enough space to have areas with tape and without. That's it. We'll just work our way in. Okay, so if you do it really nicely, you can potentially have a rather circular looking basketball, and then we're going to do the same thing across as well. So I find this is really useful for thighs in particular, or really acute hematomas where they want compression as well, because you've got a bit more of a dense area. They find this one feels really supportive as well. That's it. So we stretch across so that my anchor reaches the skin and has no stretch. Okay, and you can see the stretch on the backing paper there, but as soon as I take it off, it evens out and you can place that into wherever you want. Okay. So remember, the tape doesn't stick particularly well to itself, so these areas you're wanting to make sure that some of them are contacting the skin as well. But because of these really wide anchors on each end, you'll find it tends to stick really nicely. And you don't have that risk of those tentacles getting caught on things and peeling off. Okay. And give it a nice big warm rub. Okay. So it looks pretty cool. You can be really creative with colours, all that sort of thing as well. But most importantly, it's really effective for drainage. Good. The other interesting thing too is it's been used for mastitis as well, lymphatic drainage up around axilla for post-op breast surgeries as well. There's some research studies going on at the moment, so it'd be really interesting to see what they find as well. But also I encourage you to try some of these things and see, do you find distal to proximal makes a big difference as well. So you can play around and let me know. Alright, so you've got two different ones to